A blackout between the hedges in Athens, Georgia, welcoming Alabama, but the Crimson Tide on its first drive ate up the clock, and the freshman Mark Ingram goes in to put the Tide up. Mark, why did this play work so well?
Because the double team on the left side, look at the deuce add block to the linebacker, clears it off, then McCall comes and kicks out, and straight down the middle, north and south, you run the football, touchdown, Bama. Get
close to the goal line, go behind Andre Smith. That's what they did, big 71, the left tackle. Alabama up 17-0. The freshman from Georgia, A.J. Green, couldn't hold it. Alabama freshman linebacker Dante Hightower the pick, and Green a little more than frustrated on the sideline after the turnover set Alabama up one more time. The ensuing Alabama possession, they spread it out and run it with Roy Upton.
Well, they fake like they're going to run a quick pass to Sled, which takes the linebackers out of there.
24-0. The number 3 team in the land getting housed in their own backyard. And then John Parker Wilson to Julio Jones and the fabulous freshman. 5 catches, 94 yards and a touch. Wilson was 13 of 16, 205 yards. The blackout was a knockout by halftime. Alabama rolls 41-30. The dog wouldn't hunt.
I think it's a real credit to our players to focus on what they needed to do, be kind of single-minded in their approach, not get affected by the atmosphere here or anything else to be able to execute. You know, it's a great team win. I'm proud of our players. I'm happy. I know I don't look happy, but I am happy. And, you know, it's exciting. But the lessons to be learned in this league, as they are seen every week, whether it's Ole Miss beating Florida today, if you don't come every week prepared to play with lots of intensity, the other team's going to beat you.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, and then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay, 'cause I've had nothing to live for, and look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Look like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Listen. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. Listen, 2,000 miles I roam just to make this dock my home. Now I'm just gonna sit at the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
Upset. Alabama 41-30, the final score, much closer than the game actually was. The game was pretty much over at halftime. My Hall of Fame running mates Lou Holtz and Mark May, along with me, Reese Davis. And you guys felt like that Alabama had some advantages on the lines of scrimmage, particularly with the defensive line against Georgia's offensive line. But really, it was their offensive line that took control of the game early.
They definitely did. With Andre Smith and company up front, they did a fantastic job of protecting quarterback John Parker Wilson. But they did establish the run. They had 134 yards on the ground. They dominated the line of scrimmage. They did what they had to do, and this was key. And when you can do everything right, not make mistakes, not turn the ball over, only commit one penalty in the football game, you're going to win football games. And they played smart and they played hard. But if you can control the line of scrimmage in any football game and dominate up front, you will win that game 9 times out of 10.
Well, in addition to that, they played a lot of man coverage, which enabled them to crowd the line of scrimmage, enabled them to disrupt the offensive timing of Georgia. And we talked about going into this game. Georgia's one of the most penalized teams in the country, and doggone if they weren't penalized for 70-some yards, and most of them came at critical times, either disrupted their drive or kept Alabama's drive alive.
And they weren't really penalties of the ticky-tack variety. In most cases, really personal fouls, undisciplined type of penalties. In a couple of cases, it really aided Alabama's drive.
It definitely did. But how about the Alabama defense? Did they stand up? No Sean Marino, 34 yards rushing in this game. They held Georgia's offense to 50 yards rushing in their own house. That was key. When you can make a team one-dimensional, Coach, and make them throw the ball and come from behind and win, it's your advantage.
Well, if you get up 31-0 at halftime, you are going to take the team out of the running game, no doubt. Now, Georgia's still a good football team. And I was impressed the way they bounced back. They may win the rest of them, I don't know. But on this particular day, you have to give credit to Coach Saban. He had his team ready. You said you'd like to see it, you'd hate to see it when he's unhappy. Let me tell you, the reason Alabama played the way they do is because they don't want to see him unhappy either.
I thought Alabama would win this game because I thought they had a huge advantage in the trenches. But the bottom line is, I didn't think they'd be as dominant from bell one in this football game as they were throughout the game. Yes, they got some, oh, by the way, touchdowns at the end, but when they had to turn it down in the second half and put the hammer down, they took it down and scored.
But we've talked on this set before about Nick Saban's defenses. They come at you in all different ways. They play man coverage. You never know where it's coming. They do more disruption to an offense than any football team I've ever coached against.
And we'll talk a little bit later on about just how high Alabama might move in the polls this week, perhaps all the way up to number 2. You wonder if you could even make a case based on what they've done for the number 1 spot. As Nick Saban alluded to, though, you're never safe in the SEC.
Roll Tide. Auburn sucks.